Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot. I guess I shouldn't assume that everybody's on morning time. So how selfish of me. Hey, I want to say welcome to everybody who's watching live. This is the Hiring Lens Live, where we are just going to have an open forum talking about the hiring market right now. I'll introduce myself and then we'll just go around the clock. I'm Jeremy Nichols. I'm a hospitality headhunter. I live in Florida and I focus on hospitality headhunting in the state of Florida. Thomas Finn.
Should I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi guys. It's Tom here from Edwards & Finn. I'm the managing director of a specialist revenue management and commercial analytics recruitment firm. I'm also the host of ENF TV, which is a weekly YouTube channel all based around hospitality and travel and tourism, interviewing the commercial and also operational leaders across the UK and internationally. So that's me.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aidan. I am a finance and accountancy recruiter in the UK. I have my own company called Ayla Recruitment, which is the newest of all of ours here in that it's only 6 months old. But I've been in finance recruitment for over 10 years. Really enjoying life, running my own company and trying to help as many people as I can from a finance and accounting perspective. And love ending my weeks this way. And it's even better to end them face to face for the first time. We're normally doing these on Clubhouse. So yeah, awesome. Really gonna enjoy this.
Awesome. Hey, I'm Christine Trippi. I'm so excited to be joining this great panel. I am the author of Yes is the Answer and the founder of the Wise Pineapple Hotel Consulting, Training, and Speaking Company. And I am thrilled to be here today. And I have to give a big shout out to Josh. I see you in the audience out there. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Hey, Josh. Thanks for joining us. Threw you up on the board there.
Hello, Josh. Well, Christine, you win for introductions. I can tell you that for something. You have a lot more energy than all of us combined, and I love it.
I need more coffee. I'm going to get my second one. I didn't want to drink my coffee in my second one because I didn't really scare. I want to scare you guys, but now I feel like I need to next to Christine.
I'm trying to tone it down today. I'm trying to tone it down because
don't tone it down. Keep it rolling.
I was going to say, us miserable Brits need a bit of this.
I gotta get the shades on.
There you go.
Oh my God! Wow.
Love that.
Is it raining right now, Thomas?
It is.
For me, it is. I don't know about Aidan, but for me, it definitely is.
No, so I've actually,
wow.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad down south. So it's cloudy, but it's warm-ish. But this weekend is going to be like 20 to 22 degrees, sun shining. So that's good for us. So yeah, it's going to be a great weekend.
I'll spare you the weather in Florida. So let's just jump into it because there's a lot to say and we have a lot of opinions. And I really want to talk about a topic that I just randomly posted up yesterday on LinkedIn. It's talking about onboarding. So I'll throw it up on the board here. What do we need to do as an industry to ensure onboarding is done right? Because I'm going to elaborate on that. I'm hearing a lot of awful things going on still post-COVID, especially in my industry. Again, there's other people from other industries watching this show right now. I come from hospitality. So does Thomas. So does Christine. Aidan's in finance. But I'm hearing this across the board, not just from hospitality, but from other industries too. What does it look like and why is it crucial? What do we need to do?
Yeah. Jeremy, let me jump in real quick. Let's get this conversation started. But what I would love to do is ask the audience a question and to type in, and we're going to come back to that as we have this conversation. For everybody in the audience, I'd love to know, what is the most memorable first day you ever had at one of your jobs? Put it in the comments, and then we're going to jump back to that. But go ahead, and we'll start with that onboarding and what it needs.
Thomas. I
was going to say, so I'm happy to jump in here. I think the thing with onboarding at the moment, of course, it's massively changed and it's a lot more difficult than it was. There's no sort of hiding that. I think there could be a lot more that can be done from an employer's perspective. I mean, one of the biggest things and one of the most obvious things is the use of tech, right? I mean, with onboarding, we don't want to take away from that personal approach. We don't want to take away from the human element, which is obviously what I go on about a lot and probably bore you guys with. But there is an element where you can use tech to then, I suppose, amplify or make that experience so much better. and a lot more organized. The last thing you want is to receive a job offer in a market where you were desperate to get that job. You're now in, and then it seems like a complete mess. You know, you're sort of expecting those clear emails to come through with your logins. You're expecting your tech to arrive in terms of your laptop and your phone or whatever else, and you're getting complete silence. You're getting situations where you're like, you don't know your ass from your elbow when you know what's happening next. So I think that use of tech, but that understanding that you need a very clear process. You need a clear line of communication and a very clear process. And that utilization of tech. I do, you know me, I'm archaic in a lot of ways I do things. I am very much that human element focused. And Aidan likes to remind me of that quite a lot. But I believe that use of tech could be hugely beneficial to any business that aren't already implementing that right now. I suppose that would be my 2 pence on that.
I just posted Samantha's comment. She said she had to go to the corporate sales office in Miami, had nothing to do for the first 3 hours, right? It was as if they didn't know I was coming. Preparation is key. That's kind of what I was talking about in my posting yesterday. I mean, if there's like simple stuff going on where people are not getting their name badge, they don't have their schedule made. And then it's like, oh, you're supposed to train with Brian today. You show up and like, they're like, who's Brian or where's Brian? And they give you to like Bruce, who has nothing to do with training, who doesn't want to train you, but he's like pushed into it. And then like, how do you feel as a candidate? You're like, oh my God, this is like super uncomfortable. Like if we want to talk about the need for talent right now, we have to talk about onboarding and retention and making people feel welcome, because you're just going to spend even more money. You think it's bad now. You want to bring people on board and then lose them after 3 days.
Absolutely. Here's a fact for everybody. 69% of people will stay more than 3 years if they experience an outstanding onboarding. And I love Rahul's comment here. It was a great day. I will never forget starting as an executive chef and walking into a building where everyone knew my name and background. It felt welcoming. Let me share one of my tips that I do in my onboarding process. When I hire a person, and as soon as they pass that drug screening, I got them, I know they're official, I put out a memo. And this is so simple. It's just so simple, but it's taking that extra 5-10 minutes to do it. And upon arrival, I get a few personal facts that are shareable about our new hire, because it's not only scary to be the new hire in a new building, in a new team, it's scary for all your current team members too, because will they show me up? Will we get along? Will it change things? It's scary for people. So I get a little bit of information, and I always put up a memo welcoming our new teammate before they're going to arrive. And I might put, Jenny loves Harry Potter and Olive Garden. I don't know, just some things out there. Then on first day, when I take them around the departments to introduce them, someone's already saying, I love Harry Potter too. Or, oh, look, we should get together and do some breadsticks. And they already feel like they're part of the family. So just like Rahul said, he immediately felt like he was part of the family. What are you doing to make people feel immediately connected? And remember this, people buy on emotion and they justify with logic. Just because that's a sales area doesn't mean we can't also implement that in we're selling our jobs, we're selling our company, we're selling ourselves. So remember that people buy on emotion and they justify with logic. Okay,
I'll throw in a little sports analogy, and I know
where do we follow that? Jeez,
I can't. But
that's it from us, guys. Thanks very much. Bye bye.
I'm going to piggyback off that. I need I've been telling these guys forever, Christine, that I need like an air horn. Like burr, 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 burr. Like you need or a bomb explosion. We need I'm going to bring sound effects next time.
I got my yes button.
Do it. Hit it.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
But no, it reminds me of a button I used to have. Tom remembers it, but it was a bullshit button. And I shouldn't say that. But we used to just press it whenever somebody would say something that I didn't believe.
Oh, mate, we'd mash it.
I was going to piggyback off Christine. It's like we want to talk about the team or team members, right? And here's the sports analogy. When you go and you play for your your hockey club or your football club, and you put your jersey on and you're part of that team, you know, everybody should have that team mindset. But I feel like there's this weird commodity aspect with new hires sometimes where it's like they're just coming in to like fill the void or help us with hours. And that shift has to happen. And we need to have that welcoming experience that Christine was talking about.
Absolutely. And I love how Samantha, you are awesome. I love you, Samantha. Let your employees fill out their paperwork before their first day and have a schedule ready for them when they come in. Make them feel welcome again and meeting them, the team, rather than just doing all the paperwork. Great suggestion. And yes, greeting them like you plan to have them. How many times have you been covering the desk, the shift, the person you're hiring for, and they show up and you're like, oh crap, right, just shadow me, watch what I do. It happens all the time. Be ready with and for me, one of my most memorable first days was at the Crown Plaza Hotel. I was starting as a catering manager, and when I arrived, my boss, Barb Hawker, she had a vase of roses on my desk. And I'm like, no one has ever done that for me. That is amazing. It's 20 years ago, and I still remember that. It still gives me goosebumps. And do you know how many people I told about that? And if that was back in social media days, I would have told millions of people. What triggers are you starting for your company?
100%. Like, you almost need to, I would say, when you're onboarding, you should assume, or not assume, fake that the individual is starting like a week prior to when they're actually starting, so you know that everything's set up. So like panic mode needs to hit Monday a week out, right? And you're like, God, I haven't got everything. I need to sort it all out, because you know that come the following week, actually you want someone just with no issues, no hiccups, systems all work, phone has been tested. You know, everyone knows that they're coming and they know when they're going to spend time with them, rather than on the morning that they start, you know, the manager goes, oh, actually the team, right, we've got somebody starting today. Can I have 15 minutes of all of your time throughout the day just to quickly tell our new starter what you do, how you'll work with them, and like introducing them, when actually you need to have such a good, clear plan for the whole week, so they just feel like loved the whole week, right? That's what you want. If someone feels loved, they'll give you that love back, and they'll perform so much better in their probation period, which is obviously the most crucial part of their role, or their time with you. Sorry, not role. So, agreed.
I've got. Oh, I'm getting that feedback. I don't know if you guys are.
A little bit. It's good now.
Okay. I want to ask the audience another question. That feedback distracted me now. What question was I going to ask them? Oh yeah. When you're a new hire and you are the new person on the job, when at your last job you used to be the go-to girl or guy that everybody went to because you knew it all, and now all of a sudden you're the new guy again. What is it that you feel? Put it in the chat box. What is it that you feel when you start a new job and you feel like you don't know anything? And how is that? Here is another way to make your new hires feel like they're accomplishing something.
Yeah.
I have a new hire folder with all their checklists and all their things and all the things they need, and I let them know this is your first job, your first responsibility is to complete these checklists. And now they already feel like they're being useful and they have a purpose. Give them something where they can feel useless and not like, I just miss being the go-to girl.
And what about just like holding to your end of the bargain? Like, how many times are candidates or new employees told, okay, you're going to have 2 weeks training, you're going to have a month training. They come in and it's like, yeah, you did great. It's been 2 days. Hey, I'm just going to throw you in the fire. And they just like wipe the week away. And you're in your mind, you're thinking, I thought I'd have 2 weeks of training, or I thought I'd have a month. And then you're like, okay. And like, how are they going to, that confidence to say something? I think it's nerve wracking for a new employee if they're just thrown in the mix without proper training.
Yeah. Jeremy, I was going to say, because obviously you've sat on both sides of the fence here, right? And we've spoken about this on a number of occasions. If you were going to give, an employer right now, anybody that's listening, 3 tips, right? 3 major things that you would say to any employer for an onboarding, what would they be? And why?
I know, it's like, I feel like it's like so simple, but it's that experience. Like when they come in, just have their name badge or their business cards. If they're in an office setting, have their desk like completely set up. So when they come in, it's like welcoming to them. Hey, put some roses out there, like Christine said. I also think the training should be very, very black and white, written up. And there should be, and then the third tip would be have a designated training manager. The hospitality industry had HR was obliterated. HRDs had their training managers taken away, their talent acquisition taken away, their coordinators taken away. They're running like on 6 days a week, cleaning rooms, bartending. We know what's going on. And I think that we really got to start focusing on making sure that there's training managers on property or at restaurants or in any industry. There has to be somebody. And if the budget doesn't allow for you to have a training manager, then find somebody who is a good trainer to be there.
Okay. All right.
Did I pass, Christine? Was that the yes button?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? That thumb that you've got actually looks like you're just putting your thumb really close to the screen. But when you initially do it, I'm like, oh, you're so close.
But no,
What's
again,
important as well, aside from that, right, is knowing that you still have to onboard people past their first week. Like, so many companies and so many line managers will onboard well for a week or 2 weeks, and then they don't sit down for that 1 month review, that 2 month review, the 3 month, whenever they said they were going to sit down and look at things and reassess and check in.
Yeah.
Once they're happy, they think, oh no, they're great, they're amazing, they've started so well, so I don't need to worry about them anymore because I'm satisfied, because ultimately I'm happy with their work and I know they fit. But what they then forget to realize is that individual's going, I'm doing my job, but no one seems to actually care that much. Like, I was supposed to have this meeting after month 1, month 2, and I'm now not getting it. And they become dissatisfied and potentially disgruntled and leave. And then the line manager's wondering why. And it's not because they couldn't do the job, it's because they didn't feel loved.
It's like that. I don't know who's got children here. I have a little girl. She's 3. If you tell her, like, on Wednesday, this weekend, we're going to go out for ice cream, and you don't take her out for ice cream on Saturday, do you think she's going to forget that dad told her she wanted ice cream? So, like, when you tell somebody you're going to get a 3-month review and we're going to circle back with you in 6 months, and then you think that employee forgot, they didn't forget.
But it also doesn't matter, like, at what level they are. Like, if I said to a member of my team that's very experienced that, we will sit down on Friday at 1 o'clock and we'll have a coffee and we'll go through things. If it then gets to 1 o'clock on a Friday and I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, can we move that to next week? I'm too busy. It's little things like that actually, for me, I might think, I'm just, we're too busy, we're swamped, they won't mind, let's just move it because it's not that important. But actually, there might have been things that individual wanted to bring up with me that were really important to them, and I didn't give them the time. And even if there wasn't, they still feel like they're not important enough to even make your schedule. So no matter how comfortable an employee becomes, I guess maybe what we're saying here is be punctual, have a set agenda and meet it, and don't delay it or push it back because you think somebody's fine, because you just don't know.
Yeah.
And I was coming at this. I was going to come at this from a recruiter's perspective as well, is that we've basically been given a brief, right? We've got that candidate, we've gone through the process of searching, we've helped this business effectively sell their business, sell them the dream and sell them why they're so amazing to work for and all the rest of it. And it feels like that journey just stops, right? No, we've got them now, done. We don't need to worry. And it's like, no, that's our job. That we've been able to get them to that point. We now need to work together to make sure that you're now continuing that journey through their first 3 months, through their first 6 months. And any good recruiter that's worth their salt, right, will have that follow-up call, a month in, hey, how are you doing? How was this? How did this go? Whatever. And then you periodically continue to do that. But it's down to your client then to make sure that they're doing all the right things, because all of a sudden your candidate is now not happy and you're the one who's put them in front of that job. And you're the one who's sort of like, look, we did everything we're supposed to do. So your client needs to be in that space where they understand The journey is not stopping once we get that acceptance. You know, once we make that offer, we get them to accept, and oh, happy days. No, you've then got to
100%.
go through that. Even the notice period, right? So you've got somebody that's got a month's notice period. If you're not talking to them through that month period, and they're just sort of sitting there thinking, what do I do? Am I going to get anything? Should we meet up for a call? Should I call them? I don't know. If your line manager's calling you to say, hey, we know you're starting in 3 weeks. Why don't we jump out for a coffee? Why don't we get you out to see the team?
Yes.
Why don't we do something outside of the office? Let's just do something.
It doesn't start at day one, does it? It shouldn't start at day one. One of the biggest things.
The problem is it does.
I remember, and I don't know who it was, but I just remember it so vividly. It was a thing. It was a couple of years ago. And it was something on LinkedIn, and ultimately, a company throughout the notice period sent their new employee a hamper full of whatever it was. I remember looking at it and just going, "Oh, that's really cool! Like, it's such a nice thing to do and to think about when they haven't even started." So often, you offer a candidate, and then, or an employer will offer a candidate, and then they're kind of out of sight, out of mind until day one, right? But to just and candidates expect that as well, because that's just the norm. So to then randomly get a package through the post with a nice hamper and a message saying, we're so looking forward to you starting, it just gets them coming in with such a bounce and a buzz that it should be something that people are trying to do all the time. Not sending hampers, but as Tom says, like, just go out for a coffee, jump on a Zoom call with someone and say, hey, it's been a while. I just thought I'd check in and tell you what's happened in the last 2 months, because you're on a long notice period, about how things have changed. And I just wanted to make sure you're in the know, because you're now an employee now.
Christine, do you see all the good comments popping up on the side? I can't even keep up. Thank you, everybody, for writing in. Like, there's so many good comments coming in.
I know. I just want to dive in, and I feel sad that Josh cannot even think of a good first day he's ever had in his long career. That's the sad part. And I'll have to say that Rose's experience was probably the only one that I can think of. And ever since that happened to me, every new hire I brought on, I greeted them the same way, on top of the other things that I do. So, I mean, that started that for me of going, wow, I want people to feel like I feel right now. And again, people buy on emotion, and they justify with logic. So let me put this out there. If you're interviewing somebody, chances are they've done 3 other interviews today. And if you welcome them at the door, if you said, let's, have our interview in a unique spot, if you were on time instead of make them wait in the lobby, if you had snacks and offered them a beverage, if you made the interview fun, they're going to maybe be talking it over at night with their family, and they're going to say, you know what, this was a little bit more an hour, but man, my God, I really felt good at this other place. That's what people buy. They buy on emotion. So remember that when you're having your interviews and how you're making them an experience. Turn all transactions into an experience.
Christine, I want you to...
I was going to say, that comes on to our second point, right? Which
I was going to pull it up. I was just going to do it.
And you actually brought it up.
I'm going to do it right now. Here we go.
That we have all spoken about on Clubhouse each week. So I'll read it to you. We should be talking more about attracting rather than recruiting. How do we create talk triggers for employment? Right. Christine's just said the first one. Make your interview so much better than all the other interviews that candidate's having in that day. And already you're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Following on from that.
And I'm going to put it out to the audience again. Can you told me I could just jump in, Jeremy.
All day long. Cut us off.
Seriously, someone mute this woman.
Is there a company that you were like, oh, that I would want to work for that company? Yeah. Put it in the chat box. I want to know, like, what's that? Wow, if I could work for this company, I'd love to see what your thoughts are. All right, go, boys.
And you know what's cool about that as well is that a lot of the companies that will come up are the ones that have excelled throughout this COVID period in the way that they've hired people and the flexibility they've given and the remote working options and everything they've done to stand out as an employer. They were already doing it. For the likes of Google and Virgin, they were offering remote work from anywhere options anyway. And everyone was like, wow, how do they do that? they give unlimited holiday, but they just want people to work hard and then just enjoy their time, and they can work from wherever they want. But there was this massive misconception that people would then just take the mick. But actually now everyone's having to do it again. So there's a reason why they stand out. What's this?
Yeah.
I think again, it comes down to the basics of, the interview needs to be right. But also in terms of responses, right? So we've all had situations where, a client has said, right, I'll give you an answer on Friday. You don't hear from them until the next Tuesday. And then the candidate has suddenly got another interview with somebody else. And then all of a sudden they've got 2 offers on the table and all this sort of stuff. If you're the client that's the one that's saying, oh my God, we need to get them in for a second interview. Can we do it in 3 or 4 days? Can we do it on the Monday next week? Can we get this wrapped up as soon as possible because we think she's perfect or we think they're perfect? It's one of those things where you then can tell your candidate, or the candidate, if they've got direct contact with the client, is then feeling like, wow, they really like me, right? They like me. They like who I am. They like what I can bring. They can see something great in me. It doesn't even need to be, here's your fantastic onboarding. It can start with the interview process. Give them a great interview, but with those responses, my God, just be on time. Make sure that you're following up in the timely manner, and make sure you've got open communication with your recruiters, because we're at our best when we have all the information. If you tell us, I'm not going to be able to come back to you until the next Tuesday, don't say you're going to come back to us on the Friday, because we as recruiters will say to the candidate, don't worry, we're going to hear on Friday, because we trust our clients. So just be open and transparent with us as recruiters, because that's when we're at our absolute best. So that's what I'd say as well.
Yeah. You know what we could all do? So if you're watching this and you're a hiring manager, take a lot from what Christina said and hopefully what we're saying as well. But oh my God, take her energy. If you're going into recruit and you're going to start talking to people, assign time and energy to do it. Because I know that you could brief 2 line managers or 2 recruiters on the exact same role and talk to the exact same candidates, but have a completely different outcome on who's interested. So, and that's all because you might leave a voicemail for somebody, you might talk to somebody, and you just sound, for whatever reason that day, you just sound down, or you're not selling it, you have no energy, and that absolutely rubs off. Like 60% of why you hire someone is their personality. And it works the same way, in that 60% of why you probably go into a role is because of the vibe and the energy and the personality you got from those that you met from where you're working, right? So focus on that. All it takes is to have a bit of an upbeat conversation and be passionate about something, and it makes a world of difference.
Yeah. And let me jump in on that, because it's so important, especially with that interview. And I know, as a general manager, I've been in hospitality for 34 years. I know we are so busy in our operations that as soon as that interview comes in, you're just like, oh crap, I've got to interview somebody. Nobody likes to do it. I get it. But we really need to check ourselves before we go into that, because that energy is going to play through for everything. Yeah. And so you need to be, everything in our life is exactly what we think about it. So if we think, oh, I got an interview, or if we think, yes, I've got an interview, we've got to really check ourselves before we move into that phone conversation, that Skype or that Zoom call, or that in-person interview, to make sure we're exuding the energy that we have every day.
Switch that word. I have to do an interview to I get to an interview today, right?
Yeah. And then from a candidate's perspective, right? Like from a candidate's perspective, they need to remember that as well. So I did a talk to like 26, so like 16-year-old, 17, 18-year-old students the other week. And I was talking about what employers want, CV and interview guidance. And one of the big things that I spoke about was to be aware of the pre-screen call, and how we might sound like we're just having a chat with you and line managers are just getting to know you. But actually they're judging you based on what you say and how you come across. So if you're having a down day and you're feeling a bit, as Christine says, like, oh, I'm down, it's an interview, not really excited, don't have the call. Like, tell them that actually, you're not free at this time and you want to have a conversation tomorrow at 2. And make sure you're ready for it, because that will make a world of difference to your application as well. So I know we digress, but flipping that, it works exactly the same way for candidates. So energy is everything.
Energy is everything.
That is the takeaway from the day. Energy is everything.
I kind of want to jump in there a little bit, just we're talking about recruiting. I know we didn't really talk too much about the recruiting aspect, but I think this is important. Is with the candidates, because the majority of the candidates that you speak to are not going to get the role. Like, you're only going to hire one, and unless it's like a job that needs a few, multiple openings. But my point is, you have to make the experience good for the candidates that are also being disqualified. And if you have somebody, if you're a recruiter or hiring manager, and you're talking to, I'm not saying you have to call every single person who applied. I'm saying if you're talking to them, if you work them, if you texted them, or if you had communication with them, you have to wrap up and tell them they're not a fit for the position, because that trickles too. First of all, it's just the right thing to do, right? But the second thing is, that person, if you just ghost them and like just kind of like, oh, they're a commodity, whatever, like I'm moving on with this person to hire them. All those people that trickles out. That's your brand right there. Your branding is getting destroyed.
Yeah.
Yes. I have to tap into this. Okay. I love talking about talk triggers. And have you guys heard of Chewy? It's a pet food company.
Yeah. Yes. Recently from I think Peter Ritchie was talking about it recently. Chewy.
Oh, that's so funny. I love Peter Ritchie. Yeah. So Chewy is a food service for dogs, and they probably do other things. I don't have a dog, so I'm not really keen in it. But you know why I know about them? Because their customers talk so much about them. It's unbelievable. And when people cancel the subscription because their dog passed away, they send them flowers. And people, it's all over social media. I can't tell you in the last month how many posts on social media I've seen for people receiving flowers because their dog passed away from their food supplier company. Okay? Now, think about this and what we do. I love learning from other industries how I can be better. What if like you said, we have to turn away so many people. What if we sent them, like you said, if you talk to them and interviewed them, maybe it's an even bigger thing. Maybe if it's just they sent their application and didn't get further, maybe it's you send them a really generous letter with some tips for them, some little extra that they go, wow, you know what? I'm going to keep looking for positions here. I'm going to keep promoting this company. What are you doing to create great buzz and a talk trigger for your company? And I
think there's just like some of it's just pure laziness. Some people are just bogged down,
overwhelmed.
But that there's no excuse for it, because the impact that you're putting on this one person will trickle out to their family and their friends, and it just destroys not just your personal reputation, but your company's reputation. You have to give them closure. And then there's a pocket of people who might think like, oh, maybe they're not going to handle it well, and it might be an uncomfortable conversation. Look, we're all adults here. Yeah, you might have a random hard conversation, but in the 20 years that I've been recruiting, I can't think of really one really stressful conversation I've had disqualifying a candidate.
Absolutely.
Not one.
And remember this, applicants are customers. If you leave them feeling in a bad way, they're not going to also buy from you later. Okay. Applicants are customers.
Also, what do customers do? They also talk to other customers. As soon as you don't give a good service, your brand is the one that's going to get spoken about. It's not going to be in a good way either. They didn't come back to me. They didn't give me any feedback. The feedback they did give me, it had somebody else's name on it. All this sort of stuff. You don't want a copy and paste situation, and you do not want your brand being spoken about in a negative way. Especially, I'm seeing it in the UK now anyway, but we're already turning into a candidate-driven market rather than a client one. If you're the one who's getting that bad reputation during a pandemic where sensitivity was on an all-time high and empathy needed to be up at a certain level, and you were that client that didn't give it, and you were that client that didn't give that opportunity for them to hear, get some solid feedback, some constructive criticism to go forward with, you were that client that just never went back to them, you're going to be that client that loses out on talent in the future. Simple as that.
100%. And I was just reading Sherry's comment about...
Right, throw it back up? Here, I'll put it back up for you.
Throw it back up, and So ultimately, Sherry, you're not alone in this, to be honest. I think this happened... Well, I know for a fact this happens regularly across the world in all industries. And look, rightly so, there's no excuse for it. You've sent a one-on-one email to a recruiter or a line manager or somebody in HR. after being recommended from somebody too. So it even makes it a little bit worse, and you still don't hear anything back. So one, there's no excuse for automation for all applications that come through anyway, right? But if someone's going out of their way to pick up the phone and phone you or to send you an email, you just need to get back to them, even if it is bad news. People, like, generally, and I guess it's something that I'm sure there are huge studies on it, and there's a lot that we can do. But people don't want to give bad news. It's like a natural thing, right? You only want to give good news. But what you do by not giving bad news ultimately makes it worse in the long run. So, yeah, Sherry, look, I'm sorry you've experienced that, and I would expect the same for you too. I feel like you should be getting responses back, right? I think that's just something we expect.
Common courtesy, right?
Yeah, and remember, clarity is kindness. When you're coaching, when you're hiring or an applicant, information and clarity is kindness. Now, you're not sitting at home going, are they going to call me? Do I still have a chance? Clarity is kindness. Yeah, massively. Couldn't agree more with that, actually. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Guys, we planned for a half an hour, and of course we went past it. We could talk about this forever, but
we always do.
But I do want to say this was such a fun conversation. I want to kind of go around the clock and tell people where they can find us. I guess we'll start with Christine and work our way around the opposite way this time, and then we'll see you guys. We're gonna do this every last Friday at 11 o'clock, and then Aidan, Thomas, and I, we do it on Clubhouse every week. And Christine, hey, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You got to come back.
I love you.
You got to, hey, I'm going to put the pressure on you, you know. But with that said, Christine, let people know how to find you. Any information you want to share, just put it out there.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. I really had a great time today and a great conversation. I love all the comments. I'm Christine Trippi, The Wise Pineapple. The website is www.thewisepineapple.com. The book is Yes is the Answer. Oh, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon, or if you reach out to me, I can send you a signed copy. How exciting. And I love helping. So tune in every week. I'm always sharing on social. You can catch me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and love to help you guys in your hospitality journey.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you, Christine. Look, I'm going to go next because I don't have as much to say as these two, and I'll let them plug their YouTube channel like they do every week. So as you can all see, my name is Aidan Murray. I own Ayla Recruitment, which is a finance and accountancy recruitment business in the UK. Look, find me on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Go onto our website for any resources. There's a section on sustainable recruitment as well, which touches on brand awareness and focusing on, I guess, your brand perception in the market, which is quite a little interesting thing around making sure you recruit in the right way. So if you're a hiring manager and you want to have a think about that, head to my website. But look, from a candidate perspective, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Always happy to help. Love doing these shows, and I'll see you all in face in a month's time.
I'm just going to add to what Aidan said about his website, the sustainability side of things. I've checked it out myself, and it is actually brilliant. So for anybody that is thinking about it, honestly, go check it out. So from my side, guys, as I said at the start, you can find me on LinkedIn. I am incredibly active on LinkedIn with everything that's going on within the business. You can also find me on YouTube, which is Edwards and Finn ENF TV, which we do every single week. So every Tuesday, we have a commercial leader, whether that be in the UK or internationally, and we talk about various different challenges, topics, and current issues that are going on in the industry. You'll also find a couple of different series on there. One of them is a well-being series all around mindfulness and well-being, because of course it's such a difficult time right now for so many people, that another fantastic host with me every single month we do a well-being episode. And also, if you want to find something quite funny to watch, we have a Hot Wings challenge where we get CEOs and MDs.
Thomas, I love the way you react to the hot wings.
Sorry, it's more about Tom, isn't it, when he's doing it?
It is.
My face just goes so red. So if you do want to have a bit of a laugh, something completely off topic, if you want to watch some industry leaders getting their heads blown off by incredibly hot sauces, check that one out as well. But yeah, you can also find me on Instagram, where we update on everything that we're doing on the channel, but everything that we're doing on the business. that's me, guys. So thanks very much for joining us. And honestly, the interaction and engagement has been amazing. And I've got to say, I've got to mirror what Christine said. Energy is absolute power. So yeah, I love that. So I'll pass over to Jeremy.
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Thanks, Jeremy. Okay, thanks very much, guys.
Bye, everybody. No, thanks, Thomas. I have a YouTube channel as well. It's actually much better than Thomas's. And if you're a candidate and if you're looking for advice as a candidate, you can check out my channel. There's also advice for hiring managers. I'm just joking. Thomas's channel is great. I'm just messing with him.
Of course it is.
And you can find me on LinkedIn, all the platforms. Hey, again, we do this every week in Clubhouse, and we're going to be doing this once a month so far. LinkedIn Live, YouTube, Facebook. Christine, I'm going to put it out there right now. I'm going to buy your book, and I want a signed copy.
Oh yeah.
Okay? And I'm gonna put it like somewhere back here with all my tchotchkes.
I love it.
Move my daughter's handprint, and I want to put it there.
I love it.
I was gonna say, move the handprint, put the book there.
Move my daughter's handprint. I'm gonna put your book there. But hey, with that said, it was great talking to everybody. Thank you for joining us, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.